Let me quickly talk to you about a massive business loan from Headway Capital. Maximum loan amount $100,000. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about a massive business loan from Headway Capital. Maximum loan amount $100,000. Before I actually start the conversation, please understand that we have no association, no relationship, no affiliation to this lender. We're not getting paid to do this video. This video is strictly instructional, informative, and educational. All right. So let's talk about the loan types here. So with Headway Capital, you have a series of loans. So you have small business loans, you have working capital loans, you have fast business loans, you have online business loans, and you have lines of credit. So my point here is that when you apply with Headway Capital, you have access to a variety of loans depending on your specific business needs. All right, the amounts will oscillate always between $5,000 and $100,000. The APR will fluctuate between 5 and 25%, 5% and 25%. There are no fees. We love that. And in terms of the loan duration, you can only choose one of three. So you can either choose 12 months, 18 months, or 24 months. This is the little drawback to this kind of loans, because there's a lack of flexibility here, because let's say if you're not comfortable with 24 months, are you going to stick with them, or are you just going to leave? So yeah, you can only choose between 12, 18, or 24 months. And the time to funding rather, is 1 to 3 days. So they are very fast in terms of funding, sending the cash to you as soon as you are approved, and there are no extra conditions. So we love that, because Headway Capital is an alternative lender, and in some alternative loans, there is I would say, there is a series of extra conditions, but you don't have this with Headway Capital. So this is really good. And one thing I also need to say is that if you have any question, it's always better to contact the lender first. Before you even start applying online, it's great to contact them, have a better idea of the requirements before going further. Speaking of going further, before we go further, let me give you an idea of this lender. Who is Headway Capital? Again, folks, we are talking about a lender that will grant you a massive business loan of up to $100,000. Okay, and no credit, low credit, bad credit, not a problem, because this is purely an EIN only business loan. In other words, the loan is based on the performance of the business. The loan application, the underwriting process is based on the performance of your business, not on your personal credit score. So Headway Capital is definitely a legit company. As a matter of fact, they are a subsidiary of Innova International, which is a publicly traded company that has serviced more than 7 million customers since 2004. So they've been around for a while. They are legit. You can see their ticker symbol on the New York Stock Exchange. It's ENVA, and the company itself is Innova. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that this is a legit company. You have no problems. They've been doing this for the last 15 years. They are legit. They could grant everything from business lines of credit to small business loans to all kinds of bridge loans. Okay, this is pretty good. So after evaluating this lender on tens of criteria, including loan variety, loan amount generosity, the cost, the reputation, the customer service, we assigned the company a score, a perfect score, check this out, of 10 over 10. In our view, Headway Capital and Innova in general are doing what a lot of alternative lenders should be doing. They're helping small business borrowers. They're helping They are funding not only the activities of those businesses, but they're also helping them along the way. This is fantastic. 10 over 10 in our view. As a matter of fact, if you go on Trustpilot, you would see that they have received an excellent rating of 4.7 stars out of 5 from 851 reviews as of the date of today's show. It's pretty good, and they are constantly improving. As a matter of fact, they have a new program called the Headway Capital Difference, if you can see on the screen, and this kind of tells you the fact that this sort of encapsulates, it recaps the benefits they bring into the table. If you get a line of credit, for example, from Headway Capital, how better it is compared to a term loan or a merchant cash advance, and all kinds of benefits that you can reap from working with Headway Capital. I want to talk to you now about eligibility criteria. So with Headway Capital, folks, I'm speaking to you about a humongous business loan from this lender, Headway Capital, a subsidiary of Innova, and you can borrow up to $100,000 with no problem, no credit, low credit, bad credit. Everything is fine. They look at the performance of the business. What are the eligibility criteria? Now they need to have. You got to have 3 or 4 things. They will lend to startups, no problem. So if you've been in business for the last 3 months, at least 3 months, they're okay with that. You got to show annual revenue. So annual revenue minimum $10,000, between $10,000 and $20,000. So that's about $100,000 to $200,000 a year. So this is pretty good because they focused a lot on cash flows, and this is important to remember. Your credit score is not important. If you do have great credit, if you have a great FICO, that's fine. If you have a great business credit score, that's even better, but it's not important. In terms of eligibility, they want the business to operate within the United States. Okay, they want the owners to be U.S. citizens or holders of a green card, so permanent residents. And in terms of, they also want to have an updated business plan. They want to make sure that you have actually worked out all the ins and outs of the loan. And one thing they also pay attention to in terms of eligibility is that you must actually operate in an industry that they serve, because obviously your business must be legit, right? You don't want to be in some kind of dodgy industries, like adults or whatever. No, they don't serve those, or marijuana, those kind of cannabis, whatever. They don't do that right now because of the some issues are still complicated. Let's just call it this way. So you want to be in one of the major industries they serve, and they kind of serve all kinds of industries except the little few that I just mentioned. One thing you also have to pay attention to when talking to Headway Capital is that they are very fast, and if they ask you some information, please get back to them quickly. All right. And in terms of the eligibility, they also want to make sure that you are a company. They want to make sure they do not lend to sole proprietorships. They do not lend to individuals. They only lend to businesses. So you must be at least an LLC or an ALP or a C Corp or an S Corp. You cannot be a sole proprietorship. I want to talk to you now about the loan proceeds, the use of loan proceeds. What can you use the money for? Again, we're speaking here about an enormous business loan from Headway Capital. Maximum loan amount $100,000, minimum $5,000, I believe, and you can do a lot of stuff with $100,000, right? I mean, it's a lot of money. So you can buy inventory for that. You can buy inventory with the amount. You can stock up on products before your business's busy season or other discounted bulk purchases, so you can save on cash. You can use the money to beef up your cash flow, so you can use a small business loan from Headway Capital to maintain cash flow, helping to keep your business running smoothly. You can also use the money to buy equipment, right? You can cover the cost of repairs or fund the purchase of vital machinery. What about payroll? Do you have enough cash for that? No. If you don't, well, contact Headway Capital. They'll take care of you, so you can use the cash to hire staff. And this is kind of cool, because if business picks up and you are short-staffed, you can use your working capital to hire part-time workers. You can use the money also for marketing, right? You can draw on additional capital for funding marketing campaigns that will boost business, whether it is online or offline. Okay. So one thing I want to say, and I was speaking to you earlier about the industries where Headway Capital is present. They cover everything from construction to scientific and technical services, finance, accounting, and insurance, transportation and warehousing, real estate, retail trade, accommodation and food services, marketing, media and advertising, legal services, healthcare and social services. Obviously, as I said earlier, this list is non-exhaustive. So if you don't see your sector here, you can contact them. I'm sure as long as you are in a legit, quote unquote, legit sector, you should be fine. They will fund your operation. It's just that this sector that I just given you, those are sectors that they have a great knowledge of. They have funded transactions in those sectors in the past, so they do have some kind of transactional history about them. Otherwise, you are fine. If you are not in this list, you can still qualify for a loan. I'll be right back right after this one going on. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you here about how to get a loan, a massive business loan from Headway Capital, up to $100,000. Isn't that beautiful? I just love the sound of it. 100,000. Whew, I could do a lot of stuff with that. So let's talk about the evidence needed. So to qualify for this loan, there are a couple of things you need to do. They want you to show legal documents. By legal documents, I'm referring to everything from your articles of incorporation to your articles of organization. So if you are an LLC, it will be articles of incorporation. If you are an LLC, you should have articles of organization. If you are a C Corp or an S Corp, you would have to provide articles of incorporation. You want to show copies of contracts you have with any third parties, franchise agreements, commercial leases. You also want to show the staff at Headway Capital the evidence. In terms of evidence, they want to have a business plan from you. They want to see a business bank accounts for the last 3 months. They want to see business tax returns for the last 3 years. Also, you want to show personal tax returns for the last 3 years. Okay, now if your business has not been operating for 3 years, just show whatever you have, okay? And again, remember, you cannot have a sole proprietorship. In other words, you can't just say, oh, my 1040 Schedule C is the equivalent of my business return. No, it wouldn't work with Headway Capital. It might work with other lenders, but not with Headway Capital. You need to have a 1065 or an 1120 to show that there is a separation, there is an operational separation between your business and your personal affairs. Not just operational, but also fiscal separation. One thing I also want to say is that they want to see from you something called accounts receivable aging report and accounts payable aging report, so they can actually see your short-term assets and short-term liabilities and sort of calculate something called current ratio and asset ratio. They might want to get from you also a business plan, an updated business plan that shows your vision for the next 3 months, what kind of goals you are pursuing, what kind of objectives you have, and all that kind of nice information. All right. And of course, you need to provide a completed loan application form. That's just that goes without saying that you need to have that. And in terms of they want you to be in business for at least 1 year, as I said before. Sometimes they can go, if you have been in business for 3 months, they're okay, but 1 year is it's just the juicy spot. And your business must have a revenue of 50 grand or greater. I was saying earlier 100,000, but for some transactions they are okay if you have if you have at least 50 grand a year, that's fine. Now let me talk to you about how to apply, folks. We are talking here about what we're speaking about, how to apply for a massive business loan amount from Headway Capital. The maximum loan amount is $100,000. and they want to basically have some information from you. You can apply several ways. You can apply via email, you can apply via fax, on the web form, on the website. You can call them up, you can mail in the application package. It really depends on you. And what we love is that Headway Capital will not perform a hard credit pull until after you have submitted the application and signed the contract. So first, they will ask you for basic information to have an idea of who you are, business-wise and personally. And once they have that, they will just so they will ask for information like your time in business, your annual gross revenue, the purpose for the funds. Okay, so they will take a holistic view of your business and evaluate your application differently than the bank would. So once you apply, so when you apply within minutes on the website, it's basically you are applying for pre-qualification. So once you apply with, you give them all the info, they will basically send you an offer. Okay, based on the preliminary information you send them. So that will only happen if you are eligible. So you will receive an instant pre-qualified offer to review, and you can select your desired repayment term and initial draw amount. So you review everything, you're fine. So once you have signed the contract, you will be asked to supply 3 recent months of business bank statements for additional underwriting purposes. It's just for them to have an idea, okay? Remember, you need to have at least revenue of $50,000 every single year. So the first step, you apply within minutes. Number 2, you review and accept your offer. And number 3, you draw funds. So once approved, the initial draw amount will be deposited into the business's bank account, and you can draw funds up to your available credit limit right away. So because your funds are revolving, that money becomes available to draw again as you repay your outstanding principal balance. Remember, with Headway Capital, you can have access to business loans or lines of credit, business lines of credit. So if you have the line of credit, that is a revolving line of credit. If you have just a regular loan, once you they give you all the cash up front and you spend it as you wish, right? No restrictions here. All right, folks, before closing, and let me give you my last thoughts on, kind of give you some few pro tips on getting a loan approved from Headway Capital, okay? Again, we're talking about a massive business loan from Headway Capital, maximum amount, $100,000, okay? Minimum amount, $5,000, and the APR is very reasonable for an alternative lender, 5 to 25%. 5% to 25% is pretty good. So if you want to increase your chances of getting a loan from Headway Capital, you got to take care of your documents. You got to take care of your documentation. So everything from your financial statements to your tax returns to your business operational agreements, everything from your contracts to your SLAs, your service level agreements, those things must be taken care of. You want to stash those paperwork away. I mean, even better, just save everything on the cloud. You don't have to walk around with papers like some kind of important papers in the office. No, just put everything on the cloud, and if Headway Capital requests it, just email it to them. So you got to have that. Then you want to have your legal information. Everything from your articles of incorporation or organization to your contracts with suppliers. Next, you want to maintain good credit. Good credit is very important. Even though Headway Capital doesn't care about your credit in the underwriting process, they still care about your reputation and also the personal reputation of the person running the business. So make sure that you keep everything at the personal level legit and reasonable in terms of your reputation, in terms of your credit score. And also you want to demonstrate in your application and during your conversation with the Headway Capital representative, you want to demonstrate that your company will have enough cash flow to cover the loan repayments. This is important for them. Whether you have a business line of credit or a business term loan, you're still going to need some cash. You're going to need to have what we call liquidity excess liquidity to cover that. You don't want to have a deficit. You don't want to have a monetary problem, a money problem. You don't want to have a liquidity deficit. You want to have a liquidity excess to cover the loan that you would have gotten from Headway Capital. All right, folks, this was it for today's conversation. I was speaking to you about a king size loan, business loan that is, from Headway Capital. Maximum loan amount $100,000, minimum $5,000. So I first spoke to you about the loan itself, gave you a synopsis of Headway Capital, the eligibility criteria, the use of loan proceeds, the evidence needed, how to apply, and a few pro tips to help you improve your chances of getting approved for a business loan. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.